again, and I'm back with a couple of stonking reviews for you today. Yes, I did say 2. Am I getting more prolific? We'll just see how much more kit I keep getting sent. For these reviews today, I need to thank Smunky, or as he would say, Smunky, from thevaporsden.com. Mate, literally, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for letting me borrow this kit, and what kit it is. I'm going to start by talking about this thing. Now, a lot of you are probably going to be thinking DNA 20. You'd be wrong. You're going to have to think again. Now, I'm not even going to tell you what this is called and who it's made by. I'm going to save that for the end of the video. I'm going to go down to the table and show you some of the features and talk a little bit about how it operates, how it compares against what's already on the market, and do the big reveal. So down to the table. Okay, so I thought I'd walk you around it to start with. So here we go, from the top. You have got a standard 510 connector, which has got some room for air to move, and a juice cup as well for if you get any spillage. This here, this tiny button, and it is tiny, is your firer. Now the reason it's so small is because if I touch it, it's touch sensitive. It will never ever wear out. Never. It's going to survive longer than the battery, that's for sure, in terms of the overall life cycle, of course. If I show you the front here, you've only got 2 buttons, well 3 buttons including the firer for overall operation. And if I just touch it, is it going to focus? Nah. See if I can get a picture for you. Come on. That's more like it. Okay, so there you can see what it reads. I'm going to plug an ATI onto it in a minute just to show you what else you get. But the first thing to show you, if I keep pressing this button, I'm going to have to press it a lot. Its voltage range is from 4 volts all the way up to 7.4 volts. Can you believe that? It's just phenomenal. It really is. Also shows you how much battery you've got there. I'm just going to dial this back down again before I plug anything onto it. It's also got an overload protector, so if you do throw anything on there that it can't cope with, it just won't work. It will reset itself. It's not like you ruined it or anything. So if I push and hold this bottom button, it switches it off. You can see that it's also got built-in hit counter, and it also tells you what temperature the cell's running at. So, you know, if you're a little bit safety conscious, you can keep your eye on that sort of thing. But the electronics keeps an eye on that for you. You've also got 2 LED lights here. They're both for charging. They're charging indicators. The one at the bottom here stays lit just to let you know that it is receiving power from the charger. And the top one is an indicator. So it stays red when it's still charging, and it goes green with fully charged. Right, I'm just going to put an ATI on here, and I'm going to try and do it without giving away what my next review is. This might be a little bit tricky. There we go. I don't think I'm giving away any secrets. So if I just turn it back on, terrible with the hands, and just give it a quick touch on the firer, that just gives it enough info to start giving you the rest of the display. So you can see that it tells you the amp output, it tells you the watt output, it also tells you the resistance of your coil to the nearest 100th of an ohm, which is pretty spectacular. So if I just turn put the voltage up a bit, let's just do it for 5 volts, give it a quick tap. There we go. So you can see that that's now running at 3 amps, 15 watt output. Let's go up a bit more. Let's try 5.8. That wants to give it some 20 watts output. Let's try 6.4, 6.5 even. Still wants to fire. That's given me 26 watts. This goes all the way up to 32 watts. I kid you not. I mean, this is probably going to overload it, but just to show you, you know, overload. You can't break this thing. I've had a 0.8 ohm Genesis ATI on there at 4 volts, and it took it. It'll take a 0.6 ohm Genesis ATI, and it'll, you know, obviously it will rip through the battery in no time at all, but it works. Right, I'm going to come out of this now, and I'm going to talk through some of the technical details. Going back to the size that I was talking to you about earlier, as you can see, I mean, I've got pretty big hands anyway, but still getting used to left and rights as well. It's tiny, absolutely minuscule. I'm going to be reading off a script for this. I'm not going to lie to you, but there's a lot of details to remember. If you're not that technically minded, you might want to skip through, but I'd encourage you to listen because there's some pretty exciting stuff that this does, more so than you've already seen. So in terms of the overall dimensions, it's 80mm long by 35mm wide by 18mm deep, and again, for a variable voltage device, especially one that goes up to 7.4 volts, it's tiny. The battery is good for 1400 milliamp hours. The battery lasts for 500 charge cycles. So why does that matter? Well, as you could probably guess from it being this small, is because the cells are permanently mounted. They're actually soldered onto the board, and he's done that to avoid getting dirty or weak contacts, and also to make sure that when the display says 4 volts, you really are getting 4 volts. In fact, right the way down the voltage range, there's only 1% margin of error in what it says it's giving you compared to what it's actually giving out. I'm going to show you in a minute how that compares to 4 volts on a mechanical mod, but it's just crazy. The voltage on it is buck boosted, and that means that you get a constant DC output. Most variable volt or variable watt devices that are on the market at the moment, even the ProVary, they all use something called pulse width modulation. Now that basically puts out the power in a wave, so it's on and off, on and off, on and off really quickly, up and down, up and down, up and down. So when you watch like a Pete Posado video and he's showing you sort of the battery output and how it compares to what it says on the display, that waveform that you can see is because of the, you know, the power being modulated. Drop everything away. Yeah, it's because of it being modulated. Now, if you use mechanical mods like I do, you start to get a bit purist, and I can really tell the difference that the pulse width modulation makes to the vaping experience, and compared to the DC output of this, right the way through the volt range, this is just a far nicer output, much nicer vape. So there's only another one that uses buck boosted modulation, and that's anything that's using the DNA20D chip that's just come out. Now he also does a 6000 milliamp hour version of this, and wait for it, 6000 milliamp hours, it's only 50% wider, exactly the same dimensions as this, but rather than being 18mm across this dimension here, it's 27mm. So 6000 milliamps from something that small. I just can't believe it. Everything about this was built from the ground up. The electronics in it he's done himself. It's based on the Texas Instruments TPS 43000 chip, Greek to me, which is a DC to DC converter controller chip. The brains of it runs on a PIC24F microcontroller, and that microcontroller stores and runs the software, which again he built completely from scratch. Right, I've only bought one device with me, so I'm going to give away what my next review is going to be now. It's Monkey again. I can't tell you how much I've loved having this in my company. Big reveal now. It's a Kayfan Mini. Right, I've got the power output on this. Can you see? You can't. Take my word for it, this is set to 4 volts. I've got Dolstalek, I don't know whether that's how you pronounce it, flavouring this at the moment from Perfumer's Apprentice, and it's my new all-time favourite. It's I left it to mature for a little while. It wasn't quite so good when it was just fresh and speed steeped, but the flavour that Kayfan gives out, I'm going to talk about that next time, not now. Right, in here I have got fully freshly charged 18650, should I say. I did check this one on Vamo and it said that it was putting out 4.2 volts. So, can't even screw things together properly when I've got a cam running. I might edit some of this. Obviously need to adjust the centre post here. And I do, by quite a big margin. Okay. I will put this back onto the Mini, just so that you get the comparison. I think that's only fair. So this is a fresh battery, 4.2 volts is what it says on the mechanical. This is on a dual tube smart, which I've rubbed down to brass on the top, centre pin, both sides, and also the button. So it's putting out really well. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, that you saw the clouds that that's getting. Okay, back onto this again, just at 4 volts. Man, that's a 1.67 ohm coil on there, so at 4 volts that tastes really good. I'm just going to get a little bit more into the chamber. It's going to need it. I'm going to put this up to 4.6 volts. I think I've said everything that I need to say. So I might as well do the reveal now and tell you that, sorry chaps, this is not commercially available. It's made by another den member over at the Vapors Den called Craig HB. And he's very, very humble about himself. But I'll tell you what, this to me shows that the guy is an electronics genius. This is better than anything, I mean anything, that is commercially available from the videos I've seen, even the Opus D that Phil B did review on, I think it was last weekend. That's the first of the DNA 20 commercially available mods available. And you know, they had all sorts of problems. It was losing something like 0.7 volts at the lower voltage. Didn't like the way that it charged. Watch that review. I'm not going to go through his material again for you. I've been well and truly spoiled by being able to borrow this. And I can't tell you how gutted I am that I'm going to have to give it back. I really wanted to review this, even though you can't buy it, because as far as I'm concerned, if you make mods, if you are a variable voltage mod manufacturer, what are you doing? What are you doing? People are making this in their garages, and it's far better than anything that's being made and produced. So I wanted to do this. Manufacturers, this is a bit of a wake-up call here. You can better serve the vaping community. I mean, to be fair, like I said, this guy's a genius. I'm not going to take anything away from him. And a lot of the things, even like the touch-sensitive firer, you know, I mean, it's a stroke of genius. It really is. So there you go. I can't give you a price on it. I can just say that Craig is on the Vapors Den, and if you want to talk to him about it, he'll tell you, he'll answer any question if you want to just post away. That's it. I've got it for one more week, and I'm going to make the most of it. Smunky, I'm really sorry if you saw the hit counter earlier. I'm not going to flash it up again, but I have been having a proper go on this. I've waffled on for long enough now. Thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.